When we came in, we visited the first section, and the whole place was just completely quiet. Everybody was looking at like where slavery had started, and it just felt overwhelming.
It was surprising to me to know that it goes all the way back to the 1400s.
Every time I hear about slavery and like the hardship that I know that the brothers and sisters and our ancestors actually went through, is really like hard, and it's a hard time for me.
All of the ships that carried the slaves, all of those ships' names were written on the walls, and it was pretty overwhelming to see like the number of how many made it and how many died at sea. So that was pretty overwhelming for me.
It was exciting to see that they didn't let the slavery stop them from trying to pursue more and be more. It was sad because, you know, nobody deserves that.
It was a lot of trauma and a lot of hurt that you know, our ancestors had to deal with, and they still overcame that. They still fought through that, and they still held on to what was important to them.
I mean, but slavery is just like it's a piece of it, but it's not the whole piece. Because, you know, Black History Month was just passed, and it's just like 1 month, but I'm African American all 12 months.
What I remember most is the segregated car. It was interesting to see how different seatings were. In the black car, it was pretty much crowded. It was limited seating versus in the front of the actual train in the car that there was more room. There was a little bit more to do. You can see that the privilege differentiation and the barrier between the two.
If you take a look at the timeline, it wasn't all that long ago. It still affects us as a people today.
During the Jim Crow laws, it showed what they were doing to the African American community, how they were treating them, and it was pretty graphic.
It was a modern day slavery. We actually couldn't eat at the same places. We couldn't associate with them. We couldn't do certain things. That's when poverty really started, because we were placed in certain areas and we could not contribute to our own well-being.
We had to go through all that pain and suffering, and we're still the same human beings. We're all like the same, but why did we have to go through punishment, segregation?
I think the most memorable moment at the museum was seeing the Emmett Till Memorial. That was very sad. I felt very sad, especially actually seeing what was done to him. It was very powerful, very painful, but it's not something that you just never forget. The image, I will never forget that.
I actually learned about Emmett Till growing up, and then actually seeing it, they had his casket there firsthand, and actually learning the story and learning deeper meanings and how the case and everything went out. It really it upset me. You know, leaving out was a sad thing. No mother should have to lose her child, but the impact, the movement that it started was something very powerful.
You know, when you have the civil rights movement, you have people saying, no, I'm not gonna give up my seat. You have people saying, you know, I'm gonna be judged by my character and not my color. You have people saying, stand up and fight for what you believe in and fight for your freedom. I thought, how powerful do you have to feel as a people to finally stand up and say enough is enough, and we're gonna define freedom for ourselves.
That stuff just showed that it only takes one person to make a huge impact, and it pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and stop just seeing myself as I can only do so much, but to embrace the vision.
Seeing like activists like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks and all these NAACP members trying to fight for equality for African Americans in the US, and it was a hard time. And when I saw Barack Obama and he was giving a speech and they had like the music in the background, it was overwhelming for me, and I started to cry.
The history is still living. You see us in sports, you see us in the military, you see the impact that we have on these aspects of our society.
It was good to see Michael Jordan, Jackie Robinson. It was good to see how they, you know, not only played the sport but took a stand.
Seeing the 2 track stars with their fist up saying, hey, they stand for something. We're not gonna just run for America when America is not treating us good.
Visiting the National African American Smithsonian, it impacted my life because it taught me, yes, I started from this, but I still have value, I still have purpose, I still have something that's worth fighting for.
The whole museum was amazing. I wish we had more time to just indulge in all the floors. One day is not enough.
It actually made me get a deeper understanding, and it came to a different emotional standpoint that I needed to understand of where I actually came from, my deeper roots, and the way that I'm seen as an African American man.
We came from like literally nothing to something, and that was just through persevering and pushing through.
A lot of it was me thinking, look how far we've come, look how much of this trauma we're beating.
I remember talking to my mom about it, and she didn't know much of what I learned at the museum because a lot of the stuff isn't taught, but she was excited to see how it impacted me. So I think we're actually gonna take a trip back in about a year.
I like to think that I know a decent amount about Black history, but actually seeing Black history in front of me really showed me how much I don't know and how much I still have to learn.